What's up, guys? It's Nutsack. Back with a new video today, staying active. Today we got the biggest UFC aura gains and losses in each division in 2024. Basically what this means, we're going to be going through every single division and we're going to be looking at which fighter lost the most aura and which fighter gained the most aura in 2024 in each division. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with Flyweight. Who else gained the most aura? It's got to be Brandon Royval. I don't know who else you'd go with. Beat Brandon Moreno at the beginning of the year. He took that fight on short notice as well, and it was at altitude. I know Brandon Moreno didn't look too good in that fight, but took the fight on short notice at altitude and had really good cardio. Was honestly just piecing up Moreno with that pressure, and looked really good in that fight. And then fought Tatsuro Taira. A lot of people were picking him to lose. I actually picked him to win. I'm not gonna brag about that, but yeah, he ended up beating Tatsuro Taira. Somehow it was a split decision, even though it was one of the clearest wins I've seen. Outstruck him. And yeah, he beat a lot of people were picking him to lose, and he ended up winning. And he beat like a really hyped prospect, undefeated in Tatsuro Taira. And yeah, at the end of last year, he lost to Pantoja, so he probably gained a lot of his aura back this year. And he's really entertaining. He's really high pace, and he's cool on the mic. So I say he gained the most aura this year. When I originally made this video, I had Charles Johnson as gained the most aura, but then I was thinking back and I was like, why did I put him? Like, I completely forgot about Royval. So of course you got to put Royval gain the most aura. Then for last most aura, there's a couple guys you could put here. I would have put Joshua Van, but Joshua Van did beat Cody Durden and he did dominate him, so he gained a lot of his aura back. And Joshua Van is still a good contender. Who else could I put him? I guess I could put him Albazi. That's what I was thinking about tweeting as well. Albazi, but I feel like Steve Erceg was more hyped up this year than Albazi. Even though Steve Erceg this year Steve Erceg gained his aura this year, he lost it just as fast. He fought Pantoja, and he had a really close fight with him. Arguably won that fight. I think he did, but I'm not gonna. It was a close fight, so either way. And I know it was in Brazil. So, yeah, then Steve Erceg, 305, I believe, got booked to fight Kai Kara France. I picked Kai Kara France to win. But, everyone was picking Steve Erceg to win, like, easily win that. And, like, oh, Steve Erceg's going to be a future champ. I picked Kai Kara France to win, not to brag. But, Kai Kara France ended up knocking him out, and now no one's hyping up Steve Erceg at all. So I'd say he lost the most aura. It's between him or Albazi, because Albazi did get dominated by Moreno, and like he didn't have any other fights this year. But Moreno's good, and I think a lot of people were still picking Moreno to beat Albazi, where I feel like nobody was really picking Kai Kara France to beat Steve Erceg. So I'd say Steve Erceg lost the most aura this year. Brandon Royval gained the most. Move on to Bantamweight. Gained the most aura. Peter Yan. I wouldn't say Peter Yan didn't have aura and then gained it. I'd say that Peter Yan lost a lot of aura last year and then gained it back this year. Obviously, in 2024, he fought Merab, got dominated by him, lost a lot of aura after that. And I believe, he might have fought Sean O'Malley in 2023. I can't remember. It was a robbery, but still, did lose some aura from that. But he lost a lot of aura in the Merab fight. But he gained a lot of his aura back this year. He had a good comeback win against Song Yadong, and I believe he was injured in that fight as well, so that's still an impressive win. And Song Yadong's pretty good. And then he dominated Figueiredo, 50-45, which is probably one of the most impressive wins of the year. But yeah, so Peter Yan he was probably a comeback fighter of the year, and he had a lot of good wins. And he probably gained the most aura out of any bantamweight that I could think of. Maybe some unranked guys as well, like Peyton Talbot, but I feel like Peyton Talbot was beating cans. So Peyton Talbot could be in the future, but as for right now, it's Peter Yan, 50-45 Figueiredo. Extremely impressive win. Lost the most aura, I'd say Sean O'Malley. It was between Sean O'Malley or Cheeto Vera. I know Cheeto Vera got embarrassed this year by Sean O'Malley, like 50-44 on the feet, and then got dropped by Figueiredo and lost the fight to him. But to be honest, I feel like Sean O'Malley had more aura this year to lose, because he was the main event of the Spear. Everyone was expecting him to be like, oh, he's gonna knock out Merab. Merab's chinny. He doesn't close the distance well. He's probably gonna knock out Merab round one, and then Merab he proceeded to not throw anything basically the entire fight. Merab wins just by taking him down, kneeing him in the thigh, doing nothing on the ground, and just wins a pretty boring decision. And Sean O'Malley, who's supposed to be like the sniper on the feet, really didn't do anything to Merab on the feet. Didn't throw any punches because he was so scared of the takedown. And the 5th round, he didn't really empty his gas tank trying to go for a finish. He was just trying to get out of there, it seemed like. So it seemed like he was kind of like a quitter. But yeah, so he lost the most aura this year, unfortunately. Hate to see it for Bantamweight. We went on the Featherweight. Who else gained the most aura? Obviously, it's going to be Ilia Topuria. Started the beginning of the year. People thinking that Volk was going to beat him, even though Volk was coming off a knockout loss. A lot of people were picking Ilia. To be fair, I picked Ilia, and I know a lot of other people were picking Ilia. I'm not gonna brag about that. That was a pretty obvious pick. Not a pretty obvious pick, but that was a pretty it wasn't like an outrageous underdog pick. But yeah, some people were still picking Volk to win, and then we went on to, and now we're saying shit like, oh, nobody beats Ilia at featherweight ever. He's probably no, there's no featherweight ever that probably beats him. He probably beats Prime Conor, probably beats Prime Aldo. I mean, that's opinionated, to be honest. I believe he could be both of those guys if he fought them in their prime. But yeah, so obviously Ilia's gained the most aura this year. Went from saying, old Volk's gonna beat him to and nobody beats this guy ever. So lost most aura. Gotta say Volk, unfortunately. When he was having the first fight with Ilia, it seemed like a competitive fight, but unfortunately now, if we were to see Volk fight Ilia again, it would just feel like Volk's just a lamb going into slaughter. Everyone would be picking Ilia, nobody would be picking Volk, and Volk would most likely get knocked out round 1 or 2. No, not round 1. Do good enough. Round 2. So I don't think Volk should get right in there with Ilia right away. I think he should fight a contender, maybe like Diego Lopez. And if he beats Diego Lopez, which I think there's a good chance he could get his hype back. Maybe beat Mavzar. Mavzar is probably going to be a better fight for him because Volk's hard to hold down. He's good defensive grappling. We saw that with Islam. So I think Volk could gain his aura back if he fights Mavzar and gets a good win, and then goes into the fight with Ilia. So we can have that narrative saying shit like, oh, Volk's not washed. He just be a good contender. Because if he goes right into the fight, his last fight was him getting knocked out by Ilia, people are just gonna be like, oh, Volk's washed. Ilia's gonna win easily. It's not a good win for Ilia. But I feel like he'd gain a little more hype if he fought a contender first. But unfortunately, he lost the most aura in 2024. And I couldn't really think of anyone else in featherweight who did. Besides maybe Yair, but fuck Yair. Moving on to lightweight. Gained the most aura. Couldn't really think of anyone else, but I mean, obviously Middleweight Kano has gained a lot of aura this year. Can't afford to lose, motherfucker. People were picking Jalen Turner to beat him. I picked Jalen Turner to beat him. I thought he was gonna chin him. He could have won that fight, but luckily Moicano didn't quit, and Jalen Turner did quit that fight, so he got a good ground and pound TKO over him in UFC 300. And I picked Benoit to beat him. I know I picked against him both times. Oh, I did pick Moicano to beat Drew Dober, but I picked Benoit and Jalen Turner to beat Moicano. But Moicano proved me wrong both times this year. Fucking mauled Benoit's face through Dr. Stoppage TKO and ground and pound TKO of Jalen Turner. And now we're talking about this guy potentially he could be in a title fight, title eliminator about soon. If he beats Beneil Dariush, he'll definitely be in title eliminators talks. And we used to think of this guy as a journeyman who has a cool personality, but will never really get anywhere. But now we're thinking of this guy okay, he could be fighting for the belt pretty soon, or a title contender match. So he did gain a lot of aura, and he's been active this year. Fought 3 times, which is really good. Lost the most aura. I mean, this is probably one of the most obvious picks. Obviously, the lightweight who lost the most aura, Benoit Saint-Denis. Beginning of the year, people were saying shit people were picking him to beat Dustin Poirier. I didn't. I picked Dustin Poirier to beat him, but yeah, people were picking Dustin Poirier to beat. People were picking Dustin Poirier to beat him, and then Dustin Poirier knocks him out second round. And then people were still saying shit it was a fluke. It was a fluke. He had staph infection. If he didn't have staph, he would have beat Dustin. Then he goes on to fight Moicano. I picked him to beat Moicano, actually. Then he goes on to fight Moicano, and everyone picked him to beat Moicano. I feel like nobody picked Moicano to beat him. I actually had like one homie who picked Moicano to win, and good pick from him. But yeah, Benoit just got mauled by Moicano on the ground. Literally, round one was one of the clearest 10-8s. Insane. That's what real grappling is, by the way. Not this fucking hold you against the fence and knee you in the thigh, Rob. But yeah, so Benoit St. Denis went from people saying, oh, he's gonna beat Dustin Poirier, he's a threat to Islam, to people saying shit like, yeah, he's probably gonna be out of the top 15 soon. Like, he might lose to Paddy Pimblett type shit. So yeah, Benoit St. Denis definitely lost a lot of aura this year. Moicano gained a lot of aura this year. No, it is. Welterweight gained the most aura. We gotta go with Joaquin Buckley. Another contender is Bilal Muhammad, but I feel like people still hate on Bilal. Bilal's one of the most overhated champions in my opinion. A lot of people like to compare him to Merab in terms of boring, but I actually think Bilal's not that boring. I actually think Merab's way more boring than Bilal, but welterweight gained the most aura this year. Joaquin Buckley went from this journeyman, and he went from like the middleweight journeyman to like thinking like, oh, he's a fun fighter, but he'll never get ranked, to like, okay, same thing with Moicano, like, okay, he's like a journeyman, he'll never probably get ranked, to wow, like this guy soon could be fighting in like a title contender match with Kamaru Usman, and like he'll probably beat Usman, and we think he has a chance to beat Bilal as well. And he's really good, improved a lot. Moving down a weight class seemed to have really helped him, because he was a small middleweight, but now he's at welterweight, and he's not like a huge welterweight. Well, he actually is huge. He's not tall, but he's really dense. You could see he's really muscular, huge chest, like a little ball of muscle. Seriously, he's extremely strong as well, super powerful, good wrestling as well, underrated wrestling. So we think he'll probably beat Usman, and he'll have a chance to beat Bilal as well. And he went there from being a journeyman, and he's won 4 fights this year, so that's super impressive from Buckley. Lost the most aura. This is gonna be the only fighter on the list who lost the most aura in a year without losing a fight. It's gonna be Shavkat. I have Shavkat on lost the most aura just because like a lot of people went from him, oh, he's gonna demolish Bilal, to picking like, I think Bilal's gonna beat him. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people. I was gonna pick Shavkat to beat Bilal, but after seeing him fight Ian Gary took that fight on short notice. I get Shavkat was training for a different opponent, but I mean, to me it looked like Bilal would have beat him. I think Bilal's gonna beat him. I don't think Shavkat's wrestling is that good. I think he could outstrike Bilal in the feet, but Bilal does actually have underrated striking. A lot of people like to underrated striking. He has no power, but he has good kicks, he has good punches. Hands like Canelo, you already know how it is with Bilal Muhammad, remember the name. But yeah, I think Shavkat did lose a lot of aura, because like, one, he's inactive, and two, like people thought him and Gary's gonna be an insane fight, and it was just like a clinch fest, 48-47 decision over Ian Gary, who like nobody really thinks is like a killer. So I mean, Ian Gary is good, don't get me wrong, but now I feel like a lot more people are picking Bilal to win. I couldn't really think of anyone else who lost a lot of aura for welterweight. I mean, besides Colby, but like I feel like Colby already lost a lot of aura after he lost to Leon, which was in 2023. So I mean, shit is what it is. But yeah, Shavkat probably lost the most aura in welterweight. He's the only one I could think of. Another fighter who can gain the most aura, Carlos Prates. Love that guy. One of my favorite fighters. Middleweight. Who else getting the most aura? Obviously, it's going to be Chimmy. Literally no other contender besides maybe Dricus. But, like, I feel like everyone's now saying that, Strickland and Dricus are literally just fighting to see who would lose to Chimaev. Like, they're like, the winner gets to get subbed by Chimaev. And that's, he has insane aura. And I feel like he gained a lot of his aura because he didn't have a lot of aura last year. Because last year he had that close fight with Usman. A lot of people were saying that he was overrated. A lot of people were picking Rob going into the Rob Hamza fight. I believe I picked Rob too. I can't remember. So I was one of those people. And he ended up going in there, didn't giving a fuck. Rob basically had 2 training camps for Hamza, by the way. Let's not get that twisted. Rob had 2 training camps because he was supposed to fight him the first time. And then he ended up fighting Ikram on like a week's notice. Knocked him out, then had an entire separate training camp. So So Rob had 2 training camps to train for Hamzat's wrestling and still couldn't do shit about it. Then Hamzat locks in a rear naked choke, breaks his jaw, and like that's just insane to me. So yeah, obviously Hamzat has gained the most aura in middleweight this year. Lost the most aura, Sean Strickland. I just said. Or no, actually he did lose a fight this year. That's right. He lost to Dricus. At the beginning of the year, losing to Dricus, actually he didn't lose much aura because a lot of people were saying he got robbed. It was a really close fight, to be honest. I can't say if it was robbery or not. I do think Dricus won, but I think it was super, super close. I think Sean obviously could have won that second round, but he lost most aura during the Paulo Costa fight. That fight was hella boring. Everyone was thinking Sean Strickland's gonna make it a war, and Sean's like, I'm making a war for you guys. Yeah, man, America. And he ended up just fucking jabbing and teeping to like a 48-47, 49-46 decision. Nobody even cares. And it wasn't even that good of an opponent. Paulo Costa's not that good, so like it was just kind of a disappointing performance. And now everyone's saying that DDP is definitely gonna beat him. Well, I mean, actually, a lot of people are picking Strickland. I don't know why. To be honest, I'm even more sure DDP is gonna beat him. I think DDP is improving it. Sorry, fuck. I think DDP is improving at a faster clip, and I think that Sean isn't really improving. I think he's just staying the same, and I think DDP has already figured out Sean's style, and it's easier to understand Sean's style when you first fight it. So yeah, that's about it for middleweight. So Sean Strickland did lose a lot of aura because of the Paulo Costa fight. Couldn't really think of anyone else, but in middleweight, besides Jared Cannonier, he probably, to be honest, like everyone was picking him to lose to Kaio, and even though he technically lost to Imavov, that was an early stoppage, so he didn't lose that much stock, and he's 40, so like nobody really is like shitting on him like that. And also Izzy lost a lot of aura as well, but did he though? I know a lot of people were picking him to beat Dricus, but he was coming off a domination from Strickland, so I feel like Izzy lost most of his aura in 2023 when he got dominated by Strickland, rather than when he got beat by Dricus, because Izzy actually looked really good in that fight. I have to give him credit. So if anything, he didn't even lose that much aura in the Dricus fight. He lost most of it in the Strickland fight, so he didn't even have that much aura to lose. But Sean Strickland lost most aura. Jimmy Gray has most aura. Light heavyweight, Alex Pereira gained the most aura. No explanation needed. Lost the most aura. Jamal Hill, no explanation needed. I have him a little bit off here. There we go. Obviously Jamal Hill lost most aura because not only did he get knocked out by Alex, I know Yuri got knocked out by Alex too, and he probably got knocked out by Alex worse. They both got knocked out pretty bad. But Yuri wasn't being like a cocky little shit and like taunting and like beefing with fans and being a cocky hella, and then just go out there getting knocked out. Jamal Hill did, and Jamal Hill lost a lot of aura when he went into the UFC PI trying to beef with Alex for no reason. No idea why he has such a one-sided beef with Alex. Alex told him to put on some gloves so they could spar in the cage. Jamal Hill did not put them on. Lost a lot of aura from that, obviously, and he just loses aura every single time he opens his mouth. At this point, to be honest, I actually kind of like Jamal Hill. I know he has lost aura, but I actually kind of like him, and I think he will beat Yuri. But you can't lie, the guy's lost a lot of fucking aura this year. And 2023, he had a lot of aura because he beat up Glover. So getting most aura, Alex, no explanation needed. 3 title fights in 1 year. Only like less than 3 title fights in less than 200 days. All finishes. Saving events left and right. Biggest star in the UFC. Obviously, he gained the most aura. And then heavyweight, Big Tom Aspinall. Getting the most aura this year, lad. I can't do Tom Aspinall in person. I can't do British in person. Lost most aura. I really wanted to put Jones here, but I honestly couldn't put. I couldn't fucking not put Cyril here. Cyril lost so much fucking aura after fighting Volkov and robbing him, and Cyril just never fights, unfortunately, and he had like such a pitter-pat, stupid loss against Volkov. Looked terrible in that fight. I know he broke his toe, but still. And like now everyone's saying that Tom's just gonna run through him. and gain the most aura. Tom, I know he only fought once this year, but to be honest, most of Tom's aura didn't even come from like his fight with Blades, like because everyone already knew he was gonna be Blades, unless you're like a John hater and you're unless you're a Tom hater and John fan, obviously you're picking Blades, but Tom knocked out Blades, but most of Tom's aura came from being the guy that John Jones is ducking. Hopefully that fight will happen. I actually heard it's gonna happen now, so I'm excited to see that fight, and I will be on the Tom train. So you guys already know me, but yeah, Tom gained the most aura this year, lost the most aura. You know, like I said, I would have put Jones, but Gon had one fight this year, and it was such a clear loss, and they gave it to him, and they tried walking out of the cage before his interview. So yeah, it is what it is, and Gon looked horrible in that fight. He didn't even look good. And John, I know he only fought once this year, and it was washed Stipe. But I mean, at the end of the day, he did have a win, and John did put on a good performance against Stipe. He did his thing, and I feel like a lot of people watching that fight did feel nostalgic, and I feel like more people are picking John now. So I can't say he lost the most aura. And if he didn't fight this year, maybe, but nah, it had to be Gon. I feel like John didn't lose that much aura this year, but obviously Tom gained the most aura this year from being the guy that John Jones is decking. So yeah, but that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.